one for my peoples. Then Pablo says, I think it's hard, true by the way, I think it's hard to regulate double dipping. I think that should be a moral obligation of the person being covered to let the groups that they may be in, they have other means of support. Anyway, so full disclosure, I do belong to one of them groups, but I wanted to ask, why do you limit it to Maryland? That's just like the first one.
Okay, one for management and operational purposes. Like I said, we intended, if you look at our panel, the committee, we have also a member of the clergy on the committee. And the original idea was that we would also reach out to you in your time of grief, not just for the monetary part, but also for that spiritual support. And you can only do that if you're within reach. So that was one of the things that drove us to keep it within that. And also it will be better managed. Okay. Because we have a responsibility to the members to make sure that the claims that are coming through or those that we are granting are actually legitimate. And for you to verify that, it can be difficult if you're open to everyone in the world.
Okay. I think the other question I have is, a while ago, several years ago, I think we've at least people came here early in the 90s, early 2000s. We've seen how we've had to really support people who come here, either they pass on or their families pass on, and they really don't have anything to fall back on. But I think over time, there's been education either from work or from community, wherever. People are getting insurance, people are getting, like your product. Mm-hmm. But then they're still relying on the community for extra support, which is genuinely not needed, considering the what they have. And I'm not saying everybody is there. I'm just saying quite a number of people have moved from that, so 100% relying on the community, and now they do rely on these other products that we have. This is really not on you, but I want to know your motivation to start this, but also how do you mitigate that?
And just to add on to what Ruth has said, a better direct language would be double dipping.
Basically,
you've gotten a death benefit. Like your funeral is fully covered, but you're still accepting money from mchango. And this, or maybe is there people in your group who you've seen saying, when these WhatsApp groups are being created, they're like, no, this has already been fully covered. Please don't raise this money because we have the full money. That's kind of like, I think, what Ruth might be trying to ask.
Yes, but also, if I can make clearer, if somebody, I normally say, because we are such a giving community, if somebody wants to give towards something, that's fine. But the soliciting part, the more like, somebody, we have this going on.
What's up?
To change. Mm-hmm. That is, I'm like, if you already are covered, why are you doing this?
I was actually, and the reason I was smiling is because it's been a major issue even for us in MDKO. One, we, in some cases, don't have a personal relationship with every member, right? Because we are about 680 of us, so you may not have, and you don't know the intentions. Two, all of us have different, other than our community. I look at MDK as a billboard where, one of the members of the community has an instance, and we bring it together, we broadcast it, and the community comes together in their support. But this individual has a group of friends that are not within that community. He may, have, maybe he resides, like Omoshi, I was giving you an example, sometimes he goes to work in Texas. So he has an entire following maybe in Texas, right? That may not be part of us and may want to do something in his support. So there are those instances. But there is also, and this has been reported even within our membership, that some people will even delay, because we have a reporting process. Like I said, it's all a self-reporting process. Yeah. Even when you have the bereavement, you either call and we'll assist you go through the process of reporting, or you do it yourself on the portal. So some people may intentionally delay, that has been mentioned, that some people may intentionally delay and begin, parallel, probably fundraiser, and that lies into what you're talking about, probably the double dipping. There's that, but we do not have control because it's about disclosure. It's about disclosure for us. What we do to mitigate is, if we have notification, we demand that, or if we are aware that the particular instance is one that is related or associated with the organization, we'll try to reach out to the member and have them report so that we can notify the entire community or membership of MDKO, and then they can make a conscious decision, because they'll know, okay, this person, even though the funds have not been dispersed, this person is a member and we intend to grant them bereavement support. So even with that other parallel fundraiser, at least we inform the community so that they're able to make a conscious decision whether or not to be involved in it.
And I think part of the reason why this double dipping, I think some people look at it like, it's people voluntarily contributing. But I think what the people who've double dipped, or the people who feel it's okay to double dip, don't understand, or maybe not looking at the bigger picture. Remember earlier on I said that for me personally, I get a minimum of 5-6 requests a month. I mean, I don't know about the rest who have a lot of money, but 5-6 requests a month, those are difficult to fulfill. Even if you're doing just $100 or maybe $50 here and there, they're difficult to fulfill. So you have to choose which ones you're going to contribute to and which ones you won't. So when you double dip, you're taking away from the community. You're taking away from other people who are actually in need, because everyone who's receiving these requests, I believe most people do get a lot of these requests. So you have to be selective on which ones you do. Otherwise, you're gonna be spending, like almost $1,000 every month just on contributions. And of course, we know, people are living on tight budgets, inflation and everything. So it's difficult. So I think that's just one part that I wanted to bring there. I'm gonna come to Uno, and I think you wanna read a quick comment here that's coming from Pablo.
Yes. I'll read Slay's and then Pablo's. Slay says, some of these organizations tend to be tribal. A good friend of mine told me to join one for my peoples. Then Pablo says, I think it's hard. True, by the way. I think it's hard to regulate double dipping. I think that should be a moral obligation of the person being covered, to let the groups that they may be in, they have other means of support. But that too, not many would want to point that out because they would want to get more money, so to speak. I think people should come forward also to say if the deceased may have had life insurance or something like that. Washika says, I think it's a matter of integrity. Our Rambe spirit is an honorable way of life, but it's being abused. It's been 100% agree with you, Washake. It's been abused for quite a
I was going to add something, if I may.
Yes.
Sure.
With that, and that's why I'm saying it's about disclosure, because the individual circumstance is unknown. There could be instances like for us, the amount we grant is 10,000 for dependents. It could be an instance where maybe there was an illness, there's an exorbitant bill that maybe exceeds that amount. So there are some unique cases.
Yes.
But disclosure is very important. Going back to what you were saying, that it's good for us to have that moral obligation that if there's no need, and there are some people who have done that. They have said, really, I don't have a need. What I'm being given is more than adequate.
Okay.
And so those ones save the situation, but we have others that probably abuse the system.
Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna come to Uno, and then we're gonna go to Omosh. And there was an issue of pain points that I think got lost a bit in the conversation. What are some pain points that you've had people talking about? I mean, there's of course this issue of double dipping that we've talked about. What are other pain points that people have with other existing organizations or other insurance people have to benefit them during death?
I think let me address this one, because I think that is what I'm more familiar with, and even the discussions within, and you guys have brought it up, and I think he has addressed it. And funny enough, you bringing up the double dipping part, because some guys, in our small kamkunjis, there has been an issue raised where some people are members of MDKO, but then they have they have this, so they start a WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Right? So that the dilemma is, okay, if you're getting, even if you're not really fully getting, let's say, whatever the amount is, that would sustain or would support, then why would you start this? I think that is actually something that somebody had raised and said, they're going to talk to Alan to see if it can be put in the group. But again, it's really hard to regulate that, because you it's self, and you want somebody to be honest and come and say, all tunataka ni kuzika, or tusafirisha and kuzika, and that's it. So I think that, for me, I think is what has been inakera watu wengine, the double dipping, or the potential double dipping, people not fully disclosing what not fully disclosing that, like what he said, they delay, and then when time is already up, guys have already mchango. Another issue, and maybe this may not be part of MDKO, is, or it probably might be, and maybe Alan can address, is the starting of something where the person who has passed on, amepumzika, is probably, let's say a grandfather or a great grandfather, someone mzee sana. That has also become an issue, because you're being asked and you're like, okay, what assistance do you need? What assistance do you really need? Is it a medical bill? You find out that there's no medical bill, right? So this person, maybe you can say natural causes. And I think that has also been one of those things that maybe can be addressed, not necessarily by MDKO, but that becomes now a larger issue that needs to be discussed. Again, I think it still boils down to you yourself, personally. Why would you do this? Or why would you be willing to exhaust the community when probably all you need is maybe 500,000 to cater for everything, rather than kusumbua or to whatever the community. But